If it's not fun, why bother?
We've all heard this legendary line from the legendary Reginald, and with the release of Death Stranding, I've been thinking about this line a lot. Death Stranding recently was released to some mixed reception. It was the big debut of a Kojima project since his departure from Konami, so the hype was pretty high, but it seems like a lot of people were let down. Boring, walking simulator, movie, not a game, UPS simulator, not fun. Look, I'll get this out of the way right now. I like Death Stranding. I like it a lot, but I would have to agree with a lot of these people. It's not what you'd conventionally call fun. When you think of fun and gaming, you think of fast-paced, action-packed, quick movements, running and jumping around, racing, fighting, slashing, shooting, not delivering packages. But is this definition of fun really absolutely necessary or even present in a lot of the games out there? No, it's not. I think a perfect example of this is the Souls-like games. I don't think most people out there would say that the gameplay in those video games is fun. You have to approach most enemies slowly for the first time and go through trial and error until you figure out that enemy's tells and when you can dodge or when you can attack. And try to figure out what works over and over again until you finally get it, or just get lucky and cheese the game. Getting bent over and forced to recite the pledge backwards by these enemies countless times is not fun. But I do really like these games, and it's because when you finally are able to overcome the challenge, it is rewarding. As you progress through those games, the enemies you once struggled against become easy to defeat, and it feels like you've actually accomplished something. That sense of achievement makes the struggles you went through worth something, and I think can feel more enjoyable than just mindlessly blasting through enemies with no punishment from failure.
Yes!
Another good example of a game not being fun is any game, besides Paper Mario, that uses turn-based combat. Oh my god, these games are the absolute worst. I'd rather play Mike's Pizza Strike Zone than any of these games. I'm absolutely befuddled how someone can enjoy this and then turn around and say that Death Stranding is just a glorified walking simulator, when Death Stranding actually provides a rewarding experience. When you start Death Stranding, one of the first packages you deliver is a body, and while delivering this, it's hard to keep your balance. You feel vulnerable, like a gust of wind can knock you over. You finally carefully make your way to the destination and can feel a little proud that you made it without destroying this person's corpse. Then you're caught out in BTs and you don't really know how to react, so you try as carefully as possible to get through, feeling like the slightest noise could mean that's the end. You make it out of that mess and get back to delivering some other packages. Soon you get comfortable with small-sized packages and crossing the easier terrain. You slowly build up more and more courage, and then you start expanding your delivery routes and adding new obstacles and enemies. Every new delivery comes with the possibility of annoying failures and hiccups along the journey, but that opportunity to fail is what makes coming to the end of the journey so rewarding. In one particular mission, you set off on your farthest journey yet, and come across some treacherous terrain with more enemies than you've ever encountered. You spend time and effort inching through enemy territory, tensing up and holding your breath every time one draws near until you finally reach the top of the hill and the storm begins to break. You can finally see your destination and the soundtrack kicks in as the sense of dread and defensiveness washes away to a sense of achievement and accomplishment. You fought your way through the journey, and even though it may not have been smooth or easy, you did it. Then the game continues to give you this sense of progression as you go on to encounter different challenges, different terrain, and different enemies, and learn how to deal with and conquer all of them. All this while providing beautiful landscapes, an immersive setting, an amazing soundtrack, great characters, and an interesting world and story to dive into, making for an unforgettable and truly unique experience. I think one of the moments that put the examples best into perspective for me is later on in the game when you have to transport another body, this time a live one, over a mountain through snow, which is some of the hardest terrain to get through. You make your way through the snow and eventually you encounter the enemies again, except this time you are confident enough to sneak in close and take them out. It really made me see how much I'd progressed since the days of falling over some pebbles, and it was a really fulfilling experience. This isn't to say that this is a perfect game. Some of the human enemies are way too easy for the first half of the game, the boss fights are anticlimactic, and it's a lot more interesting when you deliver packages to real people instead of just another hologram. But to say that this is just some walking simulator simply isn't true. So to bring it all back, if it's not fun, what's the point? Well, I think games can provide a lot more than just the usual idea of fun and become one of the most memorable gaming experiences I've had in a while. Okay, that's all the time I've got. I gotta get back to playing Animal Crossing New Leaf on my Nintendo 3DS.